Hello friends, welcome to our channel. Today, we have a very special story for you. It is number 10, the house he built for her. Hay builds a house over decades, brick by brick, keeping a promise he made to her as a teen. Let's get started. 1. Emotional hook. Every brick was a memory. Every wall, a promise. He built a house, okay? But she never walked through the door till years later. Show a montage of an old man sitting on a porch of a beautiful, rustic house. He's fixing a loose floorboard, but he stops to look down the road. The camera pans out to reveal a dirt road leading into the sunset. It's a beautiful summer evening, but there isn't a soul in sight. As the sun sets, the old man gets up and walks inside his house. It's empty. He pours himself a cup of tea and sits in a rocking chair. The camera slowly pans around the cozy interior to show that he's not alone. There's a framed picture of a young couple on the table next to him. In the photo, they're sitting on the same porch, laughing. Now, let's go back in time. 2. The beginning. A teenage promise. He was 17 and she was 16. They were sitting under an old oak tree. The tree had seen generations of lovers come and go. And as the two teenagers sat beneath its canopy, they made their own love story. When I grow up, he said, I'm going to build you a house. He gestured vaguely to the hill behind them. We'll have a porch, big windows, and a red roof. She laughed. You're so sweet. Thank you. She thought he was joking, just another one of his grand proclamations that always seemed to end in disaster. How many times had he vowed to build a tree fort or a go-kart track? Yet none of those things ever materialized. This house was just more of the same. She thought it was cute that he was so earnest, but also a little sad that he didn't know better than to make such foolish promises. Life pulled them apart. Maybe she moved away. Or maybe it was one of those slow burn situations where you both still live in the same town, but you gradually drift apart over time. All we know is that before long, he was just a memory, and now only the old oak tree remained. It stood stoic and strong against the passage of time. Its leaves rustled softly in the breeze, whispering secrets only the wind could understand. It had watched the boy grow up and leave, but it never forgot the promise he made beneath its branches all those years ago. 3 years go by. But he never forgets when he was 30, he bought an old pickup truck. When he was 35, he saved enough money to buy some land on that same hill. And when he was 40, he started building a house. It took him 10 years just to lay the foundation, because he worked odd jobs during the day and he had to gather bricks by hand. He would walk up to people's houses and ask if he could take their old bricks, okay? Sometimes people gave him free bricks, but mostly they just threw him out, okay? Slowly but surely, he amassed thousands of bricks. They became his obsession. Kate dreamed about them at night and talked to them during the day. Don't worry, my dears, he would murmur. One day we'll be a house. At first, he built alone. But eventually, his friends and neighbors came to help. They couldn't understand why he was doing this, but they loved him like a brother and wouldn't miss the chance to spend time with him. Decades passed. The house grew taller, and the old man's hair turned white. He never married, never had children. His friends and neighbors called him crazy. Some said he was building it for a ghost. One day, a young woman came to town. She met the old man and asked what he was doing. Building a house, he replied. For who? She asked. For the girl I love, he answered. She's coming home soon. 4. The house grows with time. He built the walls 1 year, the windows the next, and finally the roof was red, just like he promised. Inside the house, everything was handcrafted. The doorknobs were shaped like flowers. The fireplace had carvings of her initials. Her favorite flowers grew in the garden outside. In the evenings, he would sit on the porch and watch the sunset. Sometimes he would hear crickets chirping or whippoorwills calling, okay? He would listen to the sound of the wind rustling through the leaves and feel a sense of peace settle over him. Okay. He knew that she was coming home, even if she didn't know it herself. 5. Life happens, but the house remains. The years kept spinning by like a carousel at an amusement park. Children grew up and left town. The old man grew older too. Hair turned from white to gray to silver. The house became part of the town's quiet legend. People would drive by just to see it. But no one dared to disturb the old man's solitude. He spent most of his time in the house, but sometimes he would come out to sit on the porch and stare into the distance. One day, a young boy approached him cautiously. "Excuse me," he said politely. "Are you the brick man?" The old man looked at him curiously. "That's me," he replied. "Why do you want to know?" The boy blushed. "I'm sorry. I just think it's amazing what you've done. Can I touch a brick?" The old man smiled sadly. "Of course. Help yourself." The boy reached out and touched a brick. It was cool and rough beneath his fingers, yet somehow comforting. Before leaving, the boy turned back to say, "Thank you for showing me this amazing place." The old man nodded. "It's nothing special," he said quietly. Then he went back to watching the road. 6. The unexpected return. The old man had been sitting on the porch for hours, but he didn't mind. He liked watching the clouds drift by. Suddenly, he saw a figure in the distance. First, he couldn't make out who it was, but as the figure got closer, he began to recognize the gait, the way she held her head high, the faint smile on her lips. "It's her." He leaped off the porch and rushed to meet her. "You really came," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. She stopped and looked at him, surprised. "You never told me you were coming," she said, confused. "I never told you because I didn't think you would come," he replied. They stared at each other for a moment, both lost in their thoughts. She realized who he was, of course, but she couldn't remember his name. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't remember much about you." He understood. It had been so long. She was probably only here because her husband had died and she'd moved back to her hometown. A neighbor had told her about the brick man, how he'd built a house brick by brick over the course of 50 years. And then she'd seen the house and wondered who did this for her. 7. The reunion. The old man walked ahead of her, leading her up the path and through the garden. As they neared the front door, she noticed that it was unlocked. He stopped and turned to her. "Come inside," he said quietly. She stepped inside and gasped. The interior was even more breathtaking than the exterior. Everywhere she looked, there were reminders of her, tokens of his affection. She could see the years of work that had gone into every detail, the love that had sustained him through all the loneliness. The old man poured her a cup of tea and sat down next to her on the couch. There was no music playing, just the wind whistling through the trees outside and the house creaking softly. After a long silence, she whispered, "You really built it." He looked at her and smiled sadly. "I told you I would." 8. Closing reflection, voiceover, or narration. Some promises fade with time. Others are built into walls, held up by love, and waiting to be fulfilled. Okay? The old man and the woman sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. The old man looked at the woman in front of him and saw not just a reminder of his youth, but a symbol of the enduring power of love and hope. He had waited 50 years for her to return, and in that waiting, he had created something beautiful and lasting. The house was a testament to his unwavering devotion, a silent witness to a love story that had spanned decades. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room, the old man felt a sense of contentment settle over him. He had kept his promise, and in doing so, had built not just a house, but a legacy.